have to judge. I have to judge things to make decisions and choices. There are judgments that I have to make. It's part of life. That's absolutely true. I'm not looking for argument. That's not the point. What I'm talking about in judgment is when I make a judgment that causes me to suffer.
From the Big Island of Hawaii, welcome to Aloha Speaks, home of Malama Aloha Pono by Alexander Noman, offering relief for all relationships with a focus on anger assessment and resolve.
Aloha. Alex here once again with Aloha Speaks. And today we're talking about feelings versus emotions. And what I originally was thinking about was when I was acquiring my pilot's license and I went for my first, I didn't even know if I was going to go for it, and I went for my first test ride with my instructor, and he let me fly the plane, but he was doing everything else, working the instruments and the radio, and sure, I was able to fly the plane, but I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this by myself. Everything else that he's doing as well. And he said, oh, don't worry about it. We have ground school and also practice. It all comes together. It was that ground school that I realized. I just thought it was so tedious and, like, in a way boring. It's like, what does this have to do with anything? There was no way I would have ever been able to fly without ground school. It became crystal clear. And it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing with my own growth. That the fundamentals, the basic fundamentals, and it's that honesty. In the beginning, it's like honesty seems like it's one thing. But over time, and it takes so much education that comes from educators' help, because I want that help, and it just doesn't happen. It's like, but I want it to. I want to just boom, boom, boom. Slow down, Alex. Slow down. Everything takes time to unfold in its time, including that honesty. What does that have to do with feelings versus emotions? Because I was just talking about judgment. And the first kickback I get from people is, but I have to judge. I mean, that's the first thing that comes out. I mean, it's true. It's like I have to judge the distance from the cars on the road, to judge the, how fast to drive or how slow. I have to judge. I have to judge things to make decisions and choices. There are judgments that I have to make. It's part of life. That's absolutely true. I'm not looking for argument. That's not the point. What I'm talking about in judgment is when I make a judgment that causes me to suffer, that changes how I feel because I'm making the other person less than so I can feel greater than. I'm getting honest. It's only because I'm getting honest. So when I get into this world of honesty, it's only with myself that it makes a difference, that I'm honest, so that I find out on my own that there's a difference between a feeling and emotion. Because an emotion, I find out, fear, anger, sadness, or grief, it can be guilt or shame. These emotions, they come and go. They're thought generated. Judgment, thought, these things, they're, to me, ugly. And they do cause chaos in my relationships as well. So I'm being honest. These emotions. The difference is that the feeling of peace, love, joy, they might be different words. They're exactly the same. They're not separate. They're all one and the same. They don't come and go. That doesn't come and go. It's always in me. Always. It's whether or not I am in touch with that. So what do the emotions do? They block me. Oh, but, here's the argument. But I have to grieve. Excuse me? Have to? Look, there's a saying, anybody can get anybody. It's about honesty to myself. I can get anybody to what in the old, we call them the old timers in recovery, co-sign my you know what, my BS, co-sign. Sure, I can get anybody to go, oh yeah, you poor thing. Yeah, you have to grieve because, yes, that person did die, so you have to grieve. It's not true. That's not true. In my honesty with myself, I'm not talking about anybody else. If somebody else has to grieve, that's between them and them. I'm only being honest with me because of the work I've done. That joy, that peace, that love never goes anywhere. That, because it becomes down to what is real versus, this is feelings versus emotions. Real versus false. Feeling is real. Emotions, false. In my work, it has revealed that. So, I'm not selling it. It's ground school. How can I fly the plane? How can I actually be in that peace? How can I fly the plane if I don't do ground school? unfold that honesty. Slow down. Get real. With me, clarity is sweet. It's not, like I say sometimes, a burden. It's also not terrible. It's clarity is not what is misery. Clarity is not suffering. No, clarity is sweet. Life, so this one book started out, life is difficult. This one book started out that way. First words in the book. I looked at it and said, that's not true. And then if it would have said, I make life difficult, that would have been true. But life is beautiful. What I do with it, that's a different story. For now, aloha. And to close, clicking on the thumbs up icon supports Aloha Speaks, as well as clicking on the free subscribe tab. Mahalo.